It's Mr. H, and I am here to help you learn about the speed of sound. So we are going to actually find the speed of sound today by setting up an experiment. Now what we're going to need for this experiment is a Vernier LabQuest Mini, and that'll be connected to the Vernier microphone. Then you can see we have this long tube. This is 1.82 meters long, and on the end we have a rubber stopper. And that rubber stopper is very important. It's so that the sound can reflect off of the stopper and come back to our microphone. Now down here you see that I'm going to set up the computer so that we zero out the microphone. That way it starts at a 0 decibel level. And then we can go to data collection and set up our settings. We only want to collect data for 0.03 of a second, and we want to set the samples per second as high as they can go so that we take data very quickly. Now I want to trigger this data when the sound initially happens. Here's what it's going to look like when I yell into the microphone. We want to see if that collects the data well.
Hey!
Well, that did not go very well. Okay, so this time I'm going to do a nice crisp snap of my fingers. So on the left we have our original snap, and on the right we have our echo. And now that we have our data, all we'll need to do is measure from the first peak of the first pulse to the first peak of the second pulse, and that will give us the amount of time that passed. So down here in the corner of the screen it says that that was 0.01063 seconds. And now we can go over to the whiteboard and we can use the distance traveled and the time that it took to calculate the speed. We've got V bar, the average speed, is going to be the distance over time. So the distance traveled would have been 1.82 meters on the way to the cork, but then also another 1.82 meters on the way back from the cork to the microphone. So that's a total of 3.64 meters for the total trip. And we saw from the computer that that took 0.01063 seconds. So I've made a list, and now all I need to do to find my speed of sound is put these values into the equation, distance over time, and let's see what we get. The speed of sound in our experiment comes out to 342 meters per second. Now, compared to the accepted value of the speed of sound, which is 330 meters per second, and that is at standard temperature and pressure, notice that we got very close to that value with a simple experiment.